All right, for the first time this week, we're about to walk into the world of the news stories, major headlines, and the big talking points. This is Freshly Pressed on a Monday morning here on the Smooth Breakfast. This is Smooth 98.1. Love music, love life. Welcome along to the first installment of this week. It's going to be an amazing ride, as it always is. Looking forward to taking a look at the stories, getting analysis, and of course, all the thoughts and contributions that you have to share with us as well. My name is Ayokunmi. Great to be with you once again for the week. Looking forward to a productive and, should I say, amazing week. You can join us on WhatsApp as always, and also on YouTube where we're streaming live. The WhatsApp number is 0809 444 0981. 0809 That is the WhatsApp number. We're also on YouTube at Smooth 981 FM Lagos. Smooth 981 FM Lagos. All right. Joining me to take a look at the stories, analyze, and of course give perspective, Mr. C is in the building. Very good morning to you, Mr. C.
Good morning, Yahya. Good morning, Lagos. Good morning, virtual listeners all over the world. Condolences to the family of the late president.
Yes, indeed. Condolences to the family of the late president. We will jump into that story in a moment. And I believe AB also will join us as soon as possible. He's probably trying to connect to the call right now. But anyways, we shall kick on until he gets here. And of course, talking about former President Muhammadu Buhari, who we were informed passed away in a London hospital as at yesterday evening of Nigerian time, anyway. And looking at developments between then and now, President Bola Tinubu and a roll call of Nigeria's past heads of state are expected to converge on Daura today as remains of former President Buhari will be laid to rest in keeping with Islamic tradition. This is, as Vice President Kashim Shettima, directed by the president, is to accompany Buhari's remains from London, where he died around 4:30 p.m. on Sunday. Now, presidency officials who spoke to the Punch on Sunday night confirmed that the former president's remains would arrive the country early today to be flown to his hometown of Daura in Katsina State for burial. So that is going to be how the cookie crumbles at the end of the day. Former President Buhari will be laid to rest. A lot of things have been said back and forth. Different former presidents and co have expressed condolences. Nigerians too have had a lot of different things to actually say in different ramifications, Mr. C. But what are your thoughts surrounding death of former President Buhari, as well as his legacy as a two-time leader of affairs of the Nigerian state?
Okay, thank you, Ian. So the announcement of his death came with um came with mixed feelings, really. So in one breath, it was a reminder to me and by extension everyone that we live to die, and that as surely as we live, one day we will depart the scenes.
Mm.
Now, but more importantly, it was a bit sad noticing that he was declared to have died in a London clinic. Now, this is a man who was head of state for 20 months between 31st December 1983 and I believe 20th August 1985. Then he came back as a civilian and was elected to two terms as a civilian president between May 29th, 2015 and May 24th, 2023. Now, it's a bit disappointing, really, that, and you were speaking about legacy, that he had to die in a London clinic. What happened to all the hospitals, all the clinics in Nigeria? We have a national hospital in Abuja. We have an Astro Rock State Clinic that every year in the budget gets wonderful sums. And we remember the outburst of the former First Lady when she came out and did say that they couldn't even get simple painkillers. Now,
Mm.
interestingly enough, there is another Nigerian ex leader who we understand has been hospitalized in the UK for 5 months. So as the former president is late today, let's even take the feedback around the country as a gauge of people's perceptions, people's evaluation of his tenure and his supposed legacy. If he were truly loved, the country would truly be in mourning right now. But for a good number of Nigerians, it's business as usual. It's another day. Let's get up. Let's do what we have to do. Of course, there are people who will miss him, and sympathizers, we understand, have been trooping to his home in Daura. The Kaduna home, they were turned away. Now, when you look at everything that's happened during his 8-year tenure, it was during his tenure that this POS business, agency business blew up. It was during his tenure it now became easier to get money from your accounts outside the bank than inside the bank.
Cashless policy.
It was during his tenure that really that we received the news, the list of sponsors of terrorism, and we're not sure what happened. But last week, the AGF said they were now on phase 7 of the trials of people linked to terrorism. And the question, which is a side divergence, is what happened to phases 1 through 6? But the topic today is President Buhari. As he's being laid to rest today, it is a constructive reminder to politicians. You won't always be center stage. You won't always have the spotlight. And you must make the best use of each and every second you have.
Indeed.
Could President Buhari have performed a lot better? Most certainly. Did he live up to his potential? Certainly not. Could Nigeria have been better under him? Exactly. It could have. At the time he took over, Nigeria was the fourth largest economy, or I think the second, first or second, no, not even fourth, first or second in Africa. And we were on track to making serious progress. The next 8 years dragged us back a considerable period of time. And we have not recovered from that. We don't know when we're going to recover from that. We also witnessed unbridled borrowing during his administration.
Right.
So as he's laid to rest, we can only wish that he finds peace with his creator, but more importantly, that the current set of leaders at all levels of government should take a cue from what has happened. No man is immortal. You live to die. Let us fix our healthcare systems because it makes no sense that serving and past leaders travel out at the slightest opportunity, even for the most basic medical checkups. It makes no sense.
Right. Thank you very much for that, Mr. C. You are most welcome. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you. Apologies. A little bit of challenge coming online. I'll just say this about the Buhari story. No need to waste time. He was a man who found himself elevated way beyond his competence, character, or capabilities, and basically was a scourge on the Nigerian nation for 2 terms. One through an illegal coup, and the second time ostensibly through a democratic arrangement. One would have thought that the second time was a chance for him to make good on the first mistakes. But if anything, he compounded them. Nigeria was left worse for his being president than it was before he became president. So as laid to rest, like we all shall, on a good day, we shall all die. There's nothing unique about his dying. It is actually our lives that make a difference, not our deaths, because our deaths are completely the same. We expire and we go further off. Wherever we're going, now we know. I think Buhari net negative to Nigeria.
All right, thank you for sharing that, AB. And once again, welcome along to the show. Hopefully those ghouls and gremlins that we're trying to not allow you join us will be, kicked into the background. All right, let me take a message or two because they're beginning to pile up, and I would love to take your messages completely before we wrap up the show. This is from Ajayi Olonilua, Imagodo GRA Isheri. Oh, interesting. He's one of our most consistent listeners. He turned 70 today. A very happy birthday to you, Ajayi Olonilua. Thank you so much for always being a part of the Smooth family. God bless. more amazing years in good health, wealth, and all the good things of life. We appreciate you big, big, big time. Keep listening to Freshly Pressed as you have been consistently over the years. All right, this is from who's sending this thing. This is Abayomi. Abayomi says, the death of President Muhammadu Buhari should prompt sober reflection on leadership, legacy, and national progress. While many Nigerians have valid grievances, moments like this call for balance, grief, not bitterness. Democracy allows for criticism, but tone and timing matter. Even in disagreement, dignity should prevail. True change comes not just from condemning past leaders, but by showing the fairness we expect from them. There'll be time to assess Buhari's legacy, but today, humanity and restraint may speak louder than judgment. All right, thank you for your message, Abayomi. Jerry says, on the passing away of President Buhari, my condolences to his family. Now we will need to sympathize with him and his family, but remember, despite the cries of injustice and killings of innocent citizens by his cousins without his lifting an arm to do anything, but just paying lip service on the fights on insurgency. How will he face God now to tell his real age? And so on and so forth. Thank you for your message, Jerry. Keep them coming in on WhatsApp. All right, AB, let's step into The Guardian and talk about interesting developments in housing, if I can put it that way. Anyways, the federal government, through the National Artisan Skills Acquisition Program, is planning to train and certify 10,000 artisans annually, aimed at creating a steady pipeline of skilled professionals to meet the demands of Nigeria's growing housing sector. The Minister of Housing and Urban Development, Ahmed Dangiwa, made the presentation of the NASA to stakeholders at the sixth National Council on Skills, chaired by Vice President Senator Kashim Shettima at the Presidential Villa in Abuja. Now, Dangiwa actually explained that NASAP is a vision, a digital craft hub, and more or less Uber for artisans that will make it easy to find verified construction workers, just like booking a ride. But AB, should that be the correct comparison here, number one? And number two, is this the right approach to tackling this particular issue?
First of all, the headline is very troubling to me. FG to train. So we've done 2 years of this administration, and we're just planning to do something. What was this ministry doing for the first 2 years? Were they just coming up with this fabulous and fantastic idea over the past 2 years? On what basis have they been earning their salaries in that ministry then? So now we're about to train. There's nothing wrong with getting qualified, people to be qualified in whatever skills that they have the aptitude for, whether it's painting, plastering, masonry. I mean, there are lots and lots of skills. Electricians work in the housing industry, plumbers. So trust me, there is a lot that can be gleaned or can be gained from professionalizing the built industry trades. That is a good thing. But I'm saying, so after 2 years, that's the first time we're thinking that this ought to be, we say want it to be like booking a ride. Fine, I don't mind using technology to be able to reach out to who's the nearest plumber to me. I have a leaking pipe and the person can link up with me and we agree on terms. But I'm not impressed with the fact that they're just about to do it. So when you were made a minister, Architect Dangiwa, my senior colleague, what did you have in mind to do in your realm? How has housing been advanced in the country? How are people's prospects? Because listen, every time you open a newspaper or a flyer and you see that there are some residences available for 165 million with 2 payments required. How many people have 80-something million to drop on a residence, 1 bedroom, 2 bedroom somewhere? Come on. That is not a housing market that most people can participate in. What about the estates that Emefiele had, that they took it from him, he's got it back using the law, Mr. C, now work with that. But the point is, what are people able to afford housing? Are they able to dream of moderate, I'm not talking about mansions now, moderate, fundamental, functional housing? If that is not being addressed, I don't know that pouring more artisans into the market is necessarily going to make that ecosystem better. So listen, it's not a bad idea, but its timing is way too late. I would have thought that that kind of thing would be structured in 90 days, 3 months of hard thinking. As a ministry, you come up with an idea like this and you run with it. Now, in the second half of the thing, you are coming up with this concept. Well, we'll see. I just look forward to the jobs that, people, anytime a person gets a sense of professionalism in what he does, I think it makes him stand stronger, be able to negotiate better, be able to walk away from situations that are not good. And so altogether, it will improve the lives of those who are trained. I just think it's way, way, way late. But well, you could say the day a man wakes up this morning, we don't have that many mornings left in Nigeria. We are really going down. Like I said before, from the days of Buhari, we went downward, and we seemingly are not stopping that downward trend.
All right, thank you for sharing that, AB. I know Mr. C has a thought or two to share on this, but before you do that, Mr. C, I mean, looking at the quality of artisans we even have right now, if you had course to employ an artisan plumber, the carpenter, whomever, the quality of work has dropped drastically. Now, I know AB has shared his thoughts on this particular project here. Do you think that if properly implemented, we will get an increase in the level of quality of the sort of artisans that are churned out, at least in the country?
So if it's properly executed, we could. But there's a caveat. Most of the skilled artisans that work in Nigeria today, a good number of them are not Nigerian. They're either Togolese or Beninois. Because AB should know about this. Construction guys prefer their work. Ultimately, they will want the Chinese. If they can't get the Chinese, they go for these guys. Now, the Nigerian artisans, the younger ones appear not to want to pay the price to get the skills and the required expertise. They're looking for shortcuts. Now, too, I'm not so sure that the government should be training anyone. There are already private setups who are aggregating all these artisans, ensuring that they're trained, ensuring that they can be deployed at the touch of a smartphone keypad. So I'm wondering why the government now wants to get into all of this. And sometimes it boggles the mind really. Now, for 2025, they're looking to do about 3,000 artisans. Now, the question is, are you going to railroad people into this program? If they don't want to do the program, what's going to happen? Where are you going to find the numbers? Because at the end of the day, we must remember certain countries in Western Europe and North America are offering skilled artisans a pathway to immigration. So if you're a plumber, you're a carpenter, you're a mason, that's an easier route. So what is the guarantee that after you train these guys, they don't emigrate?
The same way with our doctors and other professionals,
Exactly.
even in country numbers.
And every time government has run a business that should be ordinarily run by the private sector, we have seen how that business has turned out.
All righty. Okay, let me take a couple of more messages. All right, who's talking to us here? This is King Joe. King Joe says it's unfortunate for our once leader who had 8 years and more great opportunities to build a world-class equipped hospital to die in another man's built hospital in another country. Shameful. All right, number of different thoughts about this particular issue, the passing of former President Buhari. Kunle Nikeja says, God rest the soul of former President Buhari. President Tinubu has reacted by directing flags to be flown at half-mast. How come the lives lost in Benue in their numbers did not get this kind of honor? This is who's talking to us here. This is okay. There's no name attached to the message. It says, it's funny people always want humanity of the inhumane. Okay. Shola says, please let's talk about Obadetona's death. At least he was a better ruler to the Ijebu people. That's the Awujale of the Ijebu land. Who also has gone to join his ancestors. This one says, okay, it's from SM. When the righteous die, people mourn, but when the wicked die, the people rejoice. President for 8 years, but he couldn't build a single hospital to take care of air infections. Buhari took Nigeria 20 years behind in terms of the economy. Okay, let me just leave it at that. All right, Mr. C, let's get back into the stories here. And we are going to talk about our good friends, the NNPCL. Yes, yeah, I call them our good friends because we talk about them. We talked about them very, very much recently. What's stepping into the punch for this one? Now, opposition leaders on Saturday criticized President Bola Tinubu's administration following remarks by the leadership of the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, which cast serious doubt on the viability of the country's refineries despite the billions invested in their rehabilitation. Now, on Thursday, last Thursday, the president of the Dangote Group, Aliko Dangote, stated that Port Harcourt, Warri, and Kaduna refineries might never resume operations even after about, wait for it, $18 billion had been spent on their turnaround. So, Mr. C, after a lot of snake in the monkey shadow, hide and seek, and so on and so forth, it's been put out into the light for everyone to actually see that the refineries just might never be viable after spending billions and billions and more billions on turnaround maintenance and so on and so forth. And this is something that has been said severally. But you know what? I'll let you dive into this.
Okay, thank you. So very quickly, there's a Yoruba proverb that says, if a farmer plants 100 heaps of yam, but tells lies that he's planted 200 heaps of yams, when harvest time comes, he will first harvest 100 heaps of yams, then he will harvest 100 heaps of lice. On this program, all the analysts have been saying for the past 18 months, these refineries are not working and it's doubtful they will ever work. We are taking through the theatrics of the former leadership led by Mele Kyari, or that the Port Harcourt refinery has resumed operations, whatever that means, showed us pictures of trucks by loading bays suggesting that they had loaded. And then some ridiculous Nigerians came out to buttress and support those positions. Now, a new leader has come into the NNPC and he's saying, look, guys, these refineries, we have serious reservations about them. We're even contemplating selling them now. So a number of questions arise, and I'm going to end very quickly. I'm aware Serap is suing the NNPC now.
Right.
To explain what has happened with the refinery repairs and the amounts given and what the plan is. So one is all these sums of monies paid for turnaround maintenance of refineries. It is clear that the refineries were not turned around properly or have not resumed full operation.
Well, they turned around at all.
Now, monies have been spent, monies have been given to contractors, contractors have received monies. Where are we? That's question number one. So the people who oversaw the process of applying for these sums of money, collected them, ensured contractors were paid, and nothing doing. Where are they? What is happening to them? Question number three. He says, now we're thinking of selling the refineries. The same individual has acknowledged that the refineries are not only old, the technologies are almost obsolete. So who are the wonderful spirits that you're planning to sell the refineries to? Who in his right mind right now, with maybe $200 million or $300 million to spend, will buy an aging refinery in Kaduna, Warri, or Port Harcourt when he can deploy that same amount to building a modern refinery with current technology, even futuristic technology?
Because anyone buying those refineries would have to spend a lot more money to at least get it up to scratch.
So it's like taking 80 million now. You have 80 million now, and I tell you, come and buy a 40 or 45-year-old car. Are you not better off buying a new car?
I mean, when you put it that way.
So NNPC, I'm not sure what we're going to do with refineries. I'm not sure you're going to find any buyer. And any buyer who seriously contemplates buying those refineries is a fool who will also be content with his money.
Okay, so Mr. Very quickly, in one line, if we can't find any buyers for the refinery, what next?
I don't
know. Oh my goodness. All right, AB. let me go back to... Oh, goodness gracious. All right, AB, let us quickly step into The Guardian. This one is a matter of huge importance. It has to do with the looming food crisis that we have in the country. And the federal government has commenced the process of developing the Food and Nutrition Security Crisis Preparedness Plan. Why do all these things have to have lengthy names? Goodness gracious. In order to mitigate and prevent the looming food and nutrition crisis in the country. Speaking at the National Food and Nutrition Stakeholders Meeting on the Development of Food and Nutrition Security Crisis Preparedness Plan, FNSCPP, I'll just go with that, in Abuja, the Director of Nutrition and Food Safety, Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security, Nuhu Adamukilishi, lamented that Nigeria had the largest number of food insecure people in the world, equivalent to almost the population of Ghana, bearing in mind that Nigeria once was an agricultural giant. Here we are, AB.
Again, the headline, FG plans to avert food crisis. On the maybe 700 and something or 800 and something of this administration, the FG is just planning to avert this food crisis. Does that not just sound like administrative incompetence? You have this long threaded ministry, Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security, Nuhu Adamukilishi, interestingly. What has he been doing in the past 2 years? This president made the largest number of ministries and ministers to the least level of competence and performance that I've ever seen in my whole life. So now we are planning to avert food security. Do you know that when children don't have food, they get stunted? When they're stunted, they don't learn as they ought to. We have a looming crisis, not just in the short term, but generationally. You'll have a set of people when they become adults who are not as facile, not as able to process information.
Are you there, Abby? Okay. All right. Looks like the spirits of holding the network have decided to jump in as AB was just getting into his stride. But hopefully he'll come back. But okay, he's back.
Insecurity at the heart of all that's going wrong. If insecurity were taken care of, even the farming would get better. So I don't know what these chaps think that they're doing in office, but to come up with all these long-winded acronyms and all that is not the work. No, the work is doing the work. And not to, in fact, this is what annoyed me. The person lamented. Who are you to be lamenting to who? You are in charge. Who are you lamenting to? For goodness sake, wake up, do your job, or resign if you're not competent to do so. There's no two ways about it. I'm not impressed. To be planning to do it now when children are not having food, it's a waste of news headlines, frankly.
All right, Mrs. Ageva, what to chip in there? All right, let me take messages so that I can get through as many as possible because time has absolutely flown by. JJ from Equest says, eternal rest to President Buhari. The housing issue in Nigeria is just behind schedule. I just hope that we can localize our housing techniques in this country. If we are to train, especially in housing, I believe we need to look inwards from building materials to finishing. The government shouldn't be doing this, though, in my opinion. Just create an enabling environment. That sentiment was also echoed. This is a message from this is Chika. Chika says, the death of President Buhari should be a reminder to the Nigerian politicians that life is transient. For me, his death comes with mixed feelings. This is because it's under him that 33 trillion naira was printed. It was under him that $18 billion went missing. The NNPC was under him that over 500 sheikhs were massacred and many other things occurring in the country. Long message, but I need to wrap it up. May his soul and I caught myself at the last moment. JP says, okay, Ajay, if you're listening, JP also wishing you a very happy birthday. God bless and keep you. And he says, sadly, we were at this realization years ago. Refineries that have not been well maintained for ages will not be efficient. The question is, what happens to the money spent to get to this point? Who is responsible? There was a country. This is Joseph Meunier in Silver State. He says, what happened to the National Directorate of Employment, which is an apprenticeship scheme, which I am a product of before having higher education? Why can't the government invest more into it? And there are several other artisan apps already in existence, which is true. Why not upgrade the existing ones? May God bless Nigeria. All right, this is Idimapuza in Surulere says, may God forgive and rest Buhari's soul in peace, but he'll be remembered for his preference of using UK hospitals instead of putting our hospitals in good shape. I hope President Tinubu would learn from Buhari's mistakes by giving Nigeria world-class hospitals. All right, thank you for your message. And this is, who is this? Adi in Lagos. There's a saying, when the righteous rule, the people rejoice, but when the wicked rule, but when the wicked rule, the people mourn. Nigeria didn't get this bad until President Buhari got into power in 2015. 8 wasted years of inflation, insecurity, economic disaster, corruption, and so on and so forth. Long message once again, but thank you, Ade. I need to keep things moving so I can get through. Tony Nikeja says, wow, Ayo, please, when did President Buhari die? Well, we're informed he passed away yesterday. Um, is this Niger gains, Daura mourns? Okay, what a country. It's a cash out for the UK for keeping to terms. Hope that he'll lie in states. No, he'll be buried according to Muslim rights, Islamic rights. There's no lying in states there. How many more of them will London hospitals welcome in the coming months and years? What a country. Okay. This is who's talking to us here? I think this is Chidozie, if I'm correct. Yeah, Chidozie says, so after 10 years as a political leader in Nigeria and commissioning various ultra-modern medical centers while in office, President Buhari chose to die in an ordinary London clinic. Wonders. And this is, okay, let me see if I can get through. This is Boundless Love says, NNPC, the more you look, the less you see. Dangote once put in a bid to buy the refineries. If they were that obsolete, I'm not sure the savvy businessman and richest Black African would have put his hat in the ring. But what do I know? As for President Buhari, the hypocrisy, inefficiency is glaring. Nigerian immediate past president dies in a London hospital. It is an oxymoron. This is Dotson. Dotson says, even if the hospitals are great, they still won't get treatment in the country because of the secrecy they always want to maintain about their health. At the end of the day, it all comes out into the open. And Abami sent a list of the number of people concerning the NNPC that have been arrested by the FCC. Long list of people, but no need for me to jump into.
No, but quickly, sorry. They were arrested in June. Under the Constitution, within a maximum of 14 hours, they should be charged to court. They haven't been charged. Most of the names on that list haven't been charged. So what is the point showing us the list of people who were arrested? They were arrested, they were granted bail, and what has happened after that?
Lauren Lecky says they'll scrap the refineries for scrap, really, literally selling it to whoever will pay change to get rid of the parts and perhaps leave acres for sale. Well, that's a question there. All right, we really have to go. Thank you for all your messages. Apologies for the ones I couldn't get through. No worries. They are very much appreciated. Thank you to you, Mr. C and AB, for joining us this morning to take a look at the stories. Much appreciated.
Thank you, sir. I look forward to a world that's improving on a daily basis when some of us who are not net positive leave this plane.
Thank you for having me, and I can only pray that God's will concerning Nigeria be done.
All right, and thank you once again for being a part of the show, Freshly Pressed, and for keeping it tuned to Smooth 98.1. Do not go anywhere. It's going to be all about sports and everything in between in the locker room at 8:15. All the Chelsea fans, where are you at? You need to be there. Stay with us.